Hi, I'm Camilla.
And I'm Kane, and we are the
FI
FI Resellers.
We are part-time resellers on Poshmark and eBay, and today we're going to teach you how to grow your reselling business from petty cash to part-time income.
Yep.
Over the past 6 months, we've grown our business considerably without spending any more time in it than we did before. And so we're going to give you 5 tips on how to level up your reselling and a bonus tip at the end. So stay tuned for that.
Stay tuned.
So tip number 1 is to treat your business like a business. That means that you need to be intentional about your expenses and your revenue. You need to be able to track all of those expenses, all the cost of the goods that you're picking up, the fees that you're being charged on the different platforms that you're selling on, the shipping cost that's going into it, so that you can find out what your net profit is. Because that's the number that really matters, because that's the amount of money that you actually get to keep.
Yeah.
And so you want to know if reselling is actually making you money or if you're losing money on it. And you don't know that unless you're tracking those numbers.
Yeah, and it's all about knowing your numbers. And we are using, just a very basic spreadsheet. You can go into the spreadsheet and you can know exactly how much you've made for each and every single item that you've sold. So it's very important.
And from knowing those numbers, you can set goals for the future.
And hopefully, as you are tracking your numbers, being more intentional with, how much you're actually buying these items for and how much you're paying for shipping, you will increase your profits. And so there you go. Each item really counts and all of it adds up.
Exactly. So that takes us to our next tip, which is list consistently. So in January through March, we listed 5 items a day. Then in April, we decided to up that number to 6 listings per day.
Wow, one more.
But you have to find the balance that works for you. So whatever that number is, maybe it's a daily listing goal or maybe it's a weekly listing goal. I personally can't do a weekly listing goal because I'm a procrastinator. So I need the daily goals to help me stay on track. So make a goal for yourself that you are going to put some time into your business each and every day so that you have a store that's big enough, you're building up a store, you're building up a closet on Poshmark so that you can make those daily sales.
Yeah, there's a lot to say about motivation in general, but I find that, when people put small goals in front of themselves, it helps them be motivated in that time, in that day. And for us, I joked about being 6 being 1 more than 5, but that's actually a lot. So going from 35 to 42 items a week is quite a lot. But when you're talking about on a daily basis, it really isn't a lot, right? So you got to think about it that way, where you say, okay, well, I can do 5 now. Why don't I just add 1 more and make it 6? And so there's a lot to be said about that worker motivation where you can keep yourself energized about doing this and progressing your business.
So our third tip is to always check comps. And not just that, but also check your sell-through rate. So comps are when you look up on eBay or on Poshmark and you look up similar solds to what item you are selling and you see how much they have sold for in the past. The way that you check a sell-through rate, so a sell-through rate is the number of items sold compared to the number of items currently available of a similar item to what you're trying to sell. So on eBay, it's pretty easy to see because you can, when you look it up, you can see how many listings are available. And then when you toggle to sold listings, you see how many have sold in the past 90 days. And so that helps you understand, is there really a demand out there for this item?
Right.
And how much is that demand? How much are buyers willing to pay for that item? So we do this before we even leave the thrift store so that we aren't buying things that are not going to sell or that aren't going to make us that profit that we're looking for.
So for us, that meant within the last 6 months, we kind of started off the year kind of rough. I was buying quite a bit of junk, and we've gotten better as time progressed. And that's mainly because we've been checking our comps better. We've been doing the research and being much more intentional about the items that we picked up. And that will increase the average sale price and the average sell-through rate and the average profit. And so there's a lot to be said about, all of these metrics. We keep going back to treating it like a business, and you really do need to know these numbers so that you can make very informed decisions.
Okay, so our fourth tip is to learn new categories. So when we first started, the only category really that we sold was clothes. But over these past 6 months, spurred a little bit by some donations that we got from friends and watching a lot of YouTube videos.
A lot of YouTube.
Exactly. So we have expanded into some electronics. We've expanded into looking for quilts. But honestly, when we're at the thrift store, when we're at the Goodwill outlet, we look at everything because we feel like there is might be profit in anything there. And so we're going to try to see if we can find it.
So think about stretching yourself once in a while. We are going to be lifelong learners, and we hope that you are too, and that you're open to new categories. You know, there's a lot of money to be made in every single category. But sometimes when you learn about something new and it's exciting, you want to find it, you want to list it, you want to sell it, that can be a really good thing for your business.
So our fifth tip is to have a strategy to offload unwanted or stale inventory.
Junk.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say it. This is really important to having a sustainable business because not everything that you pick up is going to be a winner. And especially when you first started, you are probably going to have some things in there that just aren't really going to sell, or they aren't going to sell for something that would be worth your time.
Right.
So you need to have a strategy for what are you going to do with those items, or even items that you picked up but you didn't notice had a major flaw on them that makes them unusable or unsellable. So that means either taking items to a buy sell trade store to, sell them, having a garage sale, even just donating them back to the thrift store if you don't feel like you can sell them. A lot of places will also do textile recycling, so finding ways that you can make sure that your business stays sustainable, because eventually you're going to run out of room, or you're just going to be overwhelmed by the amount of items that you have. And so you need to have that system in place for when you inevitably have made mistakes in your sourcing.
Yeah. And we always tell each other that, it's not going to be the first time you've made a mistake, and it's certainly not going to be the last time you make a mistake. And so you got to eat that cost and just learn from it.
And if you donate those items, it can be considered a tax deduction. And of course, the best part, you can go sourcing again.
Yeah. Get more cool stuff instead of junk.
Exactly.
All right, so one last bonus tip for you. Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate you watching all the way through here. So you want to buy stuff you actually like to list and sell. It's so simple, but sometimes we get too excited about something, we buy it, and then it kind of just sits in what we call a death pile. That's the pile that you leave to where it just slowly dies and you never get to it. And the pile just keeps building over time. People love to buy cool things, but do you really like to sell those things? That's the real question. And so you really want to focus on those things that motivate you, that energize you, that actually make you do the things that make you money.
So you really want to make sure that you are first trying to avoid having that happen, but then second, if it has happened within your business, trying to resolve that issue.
Right. Yeah, don't beat yourself up about it either. Even if you do have a big death pile, just go at it a little bit at a time. After all, they say that the only way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time.
So leave a comment down below of what your number one tip would be for growing a reselling business. And make sure that you subscribe to our channel if you are interested in finding out what sells on platforms like eBay and Poshmark, and seeing some thrift hauls and some other tips and tricks on reselling and business and finance. We would love to have you as a part of our community.
And since you've made it this far in the video, you should know that we've actually created a free spreadsheet. It's a very basic thing, but it gives you what you need to know. You can input your data so that you can just know your numbers, and that will help you, follow some of these other tips.
Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.
Keep that passion burning. We've talked a lot about worker motivation, and this is why I say that. You need to keep that passion burning so that you can keep getting that money. We'll see you later.
Bye.
our January average sale price was $24.53, and then skipping all the way to June is $35.26. But you'll see on the graph that it's been pretty consistently going up since March. And with your average sale price going up, hopefully that means that your average profit is going up. And so for us, in January, our average profit per item was about $15.35. And then when we jump to June, it shows $21.27. And so that graph also is going up. Like we said earlier, it's very important to know your numbers so that you can actually see if you're making progress.